Ruben, I just love the way you start every service with wonderful music. All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Natalie Fleury, and I'm the president of the Board of Trustees, and it is my pleasure to serve as the service representative today. My pronouns are she and her. What a gift it is to be together today in this faith community that puts love at the center. With love in mind, I want to take a moment to welcome that part of our community joining us online. Hi, Mom. Our Unitarian Universalist faith calls us to take action for equity, justice, and right relations. Today, we highlight one of the exciting ways members of our congregation live into our UU values, hearing stories from the UUCW Brigadistas. My son Will and I were part of the brigade that traveled to Nicaragua to build homes in 2016, and it truly was a life-changing experience. Also in keeping with our UU values, we honor the history of the land on which we gather. What is now known as the state of Wisconsin is home to 11 tribal nations. And no matter where you are in this beautiful state, you are on the sacred ancestral lands of an indigenous people. We are also mindful of our responsibility to continue to address racism, white colonialism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, homophobia, anti-LGBTQ+, and anti-trans rhetoric and actions, opposing violence and hate in all its destructive forms. For those of you in the sanctuary, I'd like you to take a look at the announcements included with the order of service. Those of you watching online can find most of the announcements through the e-news in your email or on the UUCW website. Here are just a few items of note. Today is a multi-generational service, so there is no RE, and we will not be singing the children's recessional. The activity table is stocked, and Dave has some extra activities and books available for anyone who needs to keep themselves occupied during the service. There is an urgent need. Food insecurity is on the rise, and UUCW's SJ Act is launching a short fundraiser to raise $6,000 for 6 local food pantries supporting our neighbors in need. Visit Molly Conrad and Mary Weirman in the community room after the service to learn more about how you can help. Announcement number 2, not today. The safety and security team regrets to inform us that the intruder active threat preparedness training for today, November 16th, has been canceled. The scheduled guest speaker, David Melby, was on furlough as a federal government employee, and it was uncertain if the training would be able to proceed today. The decision was made to reschedule it after the holidays. Number 6, join a potluck with a discussion, Immigration, Myths, Facts, and Faith, on this Friday, November 21st, at UUCW. Norma Duckworth from Voces de la Frontera will speak after the potluck, which begins at 5:30 p.m. Learn how we can support immigrants as a faith community. Sign up today through the e-news or using the link in the announcements. And number 10, why do shoes come in pairs? Because they're soulmates. The UUCW Shoe Us the Love Fall fundraiser is off and running. Next Saturday, November 22nd, is the drive-by shoe drop-off event from 10 to 2 here at UUCW. Kelly Bognar has created some amazing outreach tools that are available on the website. So please reach out to your family, friends, neighbors, post on social media, get the word out. There's a great article by Jeannie Baker on the website with a wonderful video that describes the value of this shoe fundraiser for children in Africa. Every pair of shoes you donate, every flyer you share, and every hour you volunteer helps UUCW reach our fundraising goals while making a difference for families around the world. Together, we're caring for our planet, supporting micro-entrepreneurs, and living our mission of love, inclusion, and justice. Now let's settle into our time together and ready ourselves for wonderful stories.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Jill Braithwaite. I use she, her pronouns, and I have the honor of serving this congregation as your minister. This morning, we gather together to experience ourselves as embodied community, whether from home or in the sanctuary. We come together to sing together, to reflect together, to listen, and to grow together. Today, we will hear stories from Brigadistas, participants and planners of this congregation's work with the program Bridges for Community. We'll hear stories, that most ancient form of sharing with one another, about helping our neighbors and growing our souls. And now I offer these words as our call to worship. Come, you who seek to learn from others, not to teach the world your ways, but to be changed by what you find. We gather this morning in the spirit of connection across lines of nation and language, across borders of culture and comfort, across all the boundaries that would keep our hearts small. May we remember that each act of service is also an act of learning, that every hand offered in help must also be open in humility. Together, we come to celebrate the beauty of our shared humanity, to deepen our compassion, and to renew our commitment to justice without borders. Come, let us worship in gratitude, in openness, and in love. And now, as Natalie lights our chalice, I invite us all to speak our chalice lighting words, which are printed in your order of service. We gather with our hearts and minds open. We gather with love as our guide. Together, we seek to grow our souls and to live our values. Our mission is this: grounded in love, UUCW is a joyful community committed to spiritual growth, inclusion, and justice. Now please rise in body and/or spirit, and we'll sing together hymn number 1027, Cuando el Pobre.
The words for this hymn in your hymnal are in Spanish and English. I invite you to sing whichever language you prefer. I'm going to sing the verses in English and the refrain in Spanish, if you'd like to join me on that. When the poor ones who have nothing still are giving, when the thirsty pass the cup water to share, when the wounded offer others strength and healing, pa Dios mismo en nuestro mismo caminar, pa Dios mismo en nuestro mismo caminar. When compassion gives the suffering consolation, when expecting brings to birth hope that was lost, when we choose love not from hatred all around us, pa Dios mismo en nuestro mismo caminar, pa Dios mismo en nuestro mismo caminar. When our spirits like a chalice brim with gladness, when our voices full and clear sing out the truth,
our longings, free from envy, seek the humble. Pa Dios mismo en nuestro mismo caminar. Pa Dios mismo en nuestro mismo caminar. When the goodness poured from heaven fills our dwellings, when the nations work to change war into peace, when the stranger is accepted as our neighbor, pa Dios mismo en nuestro mismo caminar, pa Dios mismo en nuestro mismo caminar, pa Dios mismo en nuestro mismo caminar, pa Dios mismo en nuestro mismo caminar.
My name is Eddie Daniel, and my pronouns are he and his. When was the last time a trip changed your life? Volunteering to help build a house in the Dominican Republic with Bridges to Community could very well be that trip. If you are relatively new to UUCW and don't know this church's rich history with Bridges to Community, you might suspect that statement is a bit of marketing hyperbole. It is not. Many of the 160 members of UUCW who have proudly served as a brigadista in the past readily describe their experience as life-changing. You'll be hearing from a few of them shortly. Let me set the stage by sharing a little bit of my own experience. The tiny village of Tierra Colorada, located deep in the countryside of Nicaragua, had no electricity, no running water, no stores, nothing but a cluster of modest dwellings and a school up the hill from a river where the women washed clothes and toted water for their families. It was 1999 and my first brigade with Bridges to Community. The villagers warmly welcomed us, which meant canceling school for the week because that would be where we had a place to sleep. The children giggled and stared through the windows at us sleeping on cots in their classroom. We ate beans and rice 3 times a day, like they did, and worked alongside the community in what was for us unaccustomed physical labor. We created surprisingly easy friendships with strangers who did not share our language and for whom material wealth was stranger still. I was there with my father, Bill Daniel, a Presbyterian minister and a co-founder of Bridges to Community. He and co-founder Cartavia were committed to the vision of bringing local communities in the U.S. and Nicaragua together in service and collaboration. While the work of building houses and other needed facilities was an obvious reason for the brigades, the primary purpose was to build community. That is, to create cross-cultural understanding through mutual shared experiences. I was also there with my teenage child, Alex, who worked alongside me and his grandfather. My intense experience in Tierra Colorada was deepened through the bonding of 3 generations. In 2002, my other teenage child, Chelsea, accompanied me for another transformative brigade. This shared parent-teen experience would become a model for subsequent UUCW brigades. The first UUCW brigade in the summer of 2004 was considered a trial, but the enthusiastic testimonies from the 17 church members, parents, and teens who went, especially the young people, were profound and convincing. They went expecting to help others in need and returned with new perspectives on their own lives, physically tired but spiritually energized, grateful for the experience. They learned that a Bridges Brigade is not missionary work to convert others, but an opportunity to engage with equal partners in a shared vision of community. The near universal takeaway has been to feel blessed that we privileged North Americans received more than we gave. A second brigade in 2006 had 19 UUCW participants, including 6 parent-teen pairs. Jim Fisher and his son Andrew were among them. Andrew was instrumental in later motivating Jim to take on his leadership role. Jim had witnessed his son's particularly powerful bonding experience with other young members of that brigade, culminating in Andrew's declaration at the end of the week, "Dad, we have to come back here." Well, to make a long story short, we all went back many times. The church adopted a biannual schedule of brigades, and the program deepened and grew. 2 brigades traveled to Nicaragua in 2008. The word continued to spread. When the program grew to 3 brigades in 2010 and again in 2012, more former brigadistas willingly stepped up to help lead. The brigades attracted singles and couples, women and men, friends and relatives of all ages from 15 to over 70. But importantly, congregational involvement was not limited to those who traveled. Many people became deeply involved in a variety of ways. Services devoted to sharing the Brigadistas' experiences, like today's, became a regular part of the church calendar. We held family-style dinners featuring Nicaraguan cuisine and even a fiesta that featured an Hispanic folk dancer. The Bridges to Community vision was helping to build community right here at home, and traveling to Nicaragua was becoming part of the UUCW identity. In 2018, the situation in Nicaragua changed. An uprising against the increasingly oppressive Ortega regime was met with a brutal crackdown. The country has been in turmoil ever since. Bridges diverted all brigades to the Dominican Republic, which is where our 2019 brigade went. Then the pandemic caused us to lose the momentum of regular brigades. However, interest in reviving the program never died, which is why we're here today. As they say on the Bridges website, a home built by Bridges to Community is much more than 4 walls and a roof. It's the difference between safety and vulnerability, health and illness, dignity and despair. It is the foundation on which everything else is built. We aspire to build not just houses, but a more just and sustainable world.
I'd like to invite anyone who would like a better view or close-up view of the pictures that I'm sharing with today's story for all ages to please come forward. While I do that, I'll introduce myself. My name is Dave Cicero. I'm Director of Lifespan Religious Education here at UUCW. My pronouns are he and him. So I found two books that I thought would give us a nice, kind of set the stage or set the scene for what the Dominican Republic is. And the first I found was by a young author called The Traveling Toddler, or Super Justin. It seemed like a good choice because I figured it would show what the author, a child himself, was capable of. It's a great message, but the book focused more on the plane ride and was very simple, so I instead chose If Dominican Were a Color by Celie Recio and illustrated by Brianna McCarthy, published by Deneen Miller Books. And you may notice that you're seeing the Spanish language version up here of the pages while I read the English. And if you're unfamiliar with the term Quisqueya, that's the indigenous name for the island of Hispaniola, now home to both the Dominican Republic and Haiti. If Dominican were a color, it would be the sunset in the sky, blazing red, burning bright. The shade of cinnamon in your cocoa. The drums beating so fast, they drive you loco. My grandmother's mahogany skin, honey brown eyes. My other grandma's yellow tint, just like mine. If Dominican were a color, it would be the shades of orange in the sunrise's hue. The Haitian black on my Dominican back. The deep green tints that carry the palm tree shades. The memories in your head that never fade. The neutral browns that color our lips. The café con leche that everyone sips. If Dominican were a color, it'd be merengue lips swaying when I walk. The chatter of neighbors strutting as they talk. It'd be the way my words shape in my mouth, the color they might not know in the South. It would be the hopscotch from my niñas and counting jacks from 1 to 10. It'd be the curls and kinks that blend my hair, the color of charcoal mixed with the sun's glare. If Dominican were a color, it'd be the roar of the ocean in the deep of the night, with the moon beaming down rays of sheer delight. It'd be the maíz coming up amarillo with green. It'd be the blue-black you only see in a dream. There wouldn't be a palette that could hold it all. It's the seasons put together: summer, winter, spring, and fall. I thank you for listening.
Good morning. My name is Madeline Fisher, and I grew up in this church. I traveled with Brigadista community to Nicaragua on that 2008 trip that my brother said we got to go back for, with my parents and Andrew when I was 15, and then again in 2010 and 2012 with several of my close friends and my dad. One of those close friends is now my husband. and we were 17 and 19 in 2010 and 2012. You could say I was a bit of a Bridges to Community groupie. Going on these trips forced me to step out of my own life and spend time in a community that was on the surface very different from my own. We differed in the language we spoke, the culture we embodied, and our socioeconomic circumstances. Despite that, we are able to connect, to share, and to genuinely want the best for one another. Every aspect of our days, play, food, rest, dress, bathing, transportation, infrastructure, the climate, was all different. It was all new. This reinforced to me that there is rarely one right way to do anything. There are countless ways to live a life. I shared all this newness with my family and friends. We found ourselves in situations that we would never experience together at home. We challenged ourselves, leaned on each other, and reflected together. I also connected and formed new friendships with adults and peers from UUCW that I would not have otherwise connected with. Susan. And then there were the people we met in the villages that we worked in. Sometimes it was uncomfortable pushing through the awkwardness of not sharing a language, but we did share the mutual desire to connect and found ways to communicate beyond language, such as working side by side, sharing meals, dancing, and my personal favorite, playing with the little kids. On our 2010 trip, I remembered my daily ritual with Jackson, one of the little boys in the family that we were building a house for. We would always sneak away for wheelbarrow rides and spinning until we were so dizzy we couldn't see, and giggling until our bellies hurt. As a young person, witnessing the lives of people who face challenges you've never had to consider is humbling in an essential way. What the kids these days call, or the antidote to what the kids these days call main character syndrome. Looking back now, I realize these trips helped me come to terms with losing some of my adolescent innocence and develop a more mature, compassionate perspective. Because of the people I met and the ways they shared their lives with me, I carry a heightened awareness for my neighbors, both abroad and at home. These trips shaped who I am, what I care about, and how I see the world. Thank you.
Move this up. All right, good morning. My name is Andrew Berner, and I remember when I first heard that UUCW was having volunteers travel to Nicaragua and the Dominican Republic to help residents there build houses. I was interested, so I talked to Eddie Daniels and others who had gone on prior trips. And they assured me that the group that organized the trips, Bridges to Community, was very organized and took care of the logistics. I talked to former brigadistas who felt safe while they were there. They explained it was such a worthwhile endeavor that they had their entire families come with them on future trips. When I told Eddie that I had never built a house, or that my Spanish was very weak, muy poquito, he laughed. And he said, that wouldn't be a problem, I'd fit right in. He said Bridges takes care of providing the local skilled workers and all the building material that we would need on the job site. He said that I would just have to bring my muscles, my enthusiasm and work ethic, and I'd fit right in with everyone else. So in the summer of 2019, I traveled to the Dominican Republic with both of my boys, Adam and Dylan. Our crew of brigadistas built an entire house in 5 days and also painted 2 other houses. It's safe to say that everyone who traveled together got more out of the experience than just building a house for some people who needed it. I'll never forget my youngest son coming up to me after playing baseball with some local kids and saying, "Dad, this boy didn't even have shoes, But he was happy. He was so happy. So Dylan was starting to begin to see that happiness does not have to be measured by the number of material goods that a person has, but by the love and community that one surrounds themselves with. And this is a lesson that I was not able to teach him, but he was able to learn through this formative experience of going to the Dominican Republic. So I highly encourage anyone between the ages of 15 and 65 to sign up for the next trip to the Dominican Republic this July. A past Brigadista will gladly share stories with you from their trip, probably more than you want to hear sometimes. You will not be disappointed, though, giving up your time, talent, and treasure to join the rich history of the UUCW Brigadistas.
Thank you, Andy and Madeline, for sharing with us. We enter now a time for sharing of joys and concerns that touch our individual lives. This is one way we express through ritual the many ways that we in this community care for and love one another. In a moment, you'll be invited to come to the mic to share aloud, or you can raise your hand and an usher will bring you a mic. I will light a candle for you, and after each sharing, I will invite you all to respond with me. We hold you in love. If you have something you'd rather not share aloud, you can use the QR code on the order of service. And at any time during the week, you can use the link in the e-news to let us know what's on your heart. What you share here this morning is only for the ears of those gathered now. It will not be in the posted video of the service or shared in our e-news. I'd like to first light a candle of concern and gratitude for the clergy witnessing at the Broadview Detention Center near Chicago. We hold in the love and care of this community Reverend Michael Wolf and others, including several UU ministers who were beaten and some of whom were arrested earlier this past week as they were witnessing and attempting to bring communion to folks inside the detention center and to address the horrific human rights violations taking place therein. We hold them in the love of this community. We hold them in love. Now let's pause and breathe together and hold all that's been shared in our hearts. And let us also hold in the care of this community all those joys and concerns left unspoken but held deeply in our spirits. To the folks attending online, know that we hold you in love as well. And now please remain seated, and we'll sing together hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. We'll sing it through the first time in English, then the second time in Spanish. The Spanish words are printed in your order of service.
Spirit of life, come unto me. the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí y al corazón cántale tu compasión. Sopla al volar, sube en la mar, hasta moldear la justicia de la vida. Arraigame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí.
Good morning. My name is Harry Fry. Some of you may know me. I was part of the Brigadista trip in 2019 to the Dominican Republic. I have some things to say about it. So the Dominican Republic trip is something I think a lot about as my journey as an individual. When I went on the trip, I was freshly 18, and I was filled with a lot of anxieties about the world and about myself. I had just come off a pretty terrible breakup, and I was kind of at fault for. I was beginning to question a lot of my thoughts and patterns. I was feeling guilty. I was miserable. I had a lot of thoughts and feelings, as you do when you're 18. My mother had asked me if I wanted to go on a trip to a different country to build houses. I didn't really have any reason to say no. After all, getting away had always helped with my thoughts, so I boarded a plane with my mother and 20-odd strangers and went to another country I'd never been to. When we got there, the culture shock was fairly immediate. A bunch of strangers who didn't speak my language, but with my strange headspace, it was like being able to sink into a strange ocean of faces, to be able to focus on the task we had, and like I had purpose there, and to go help folks who needed it. When we got to the village, we learned that the husband of the woman we were building the house for had died, and we were going to truly do something that mattered. And this helped me get out of my own head. I know we all feel different sorts of way about divinity or spirituality, but even to me, who I would consider myself an agnostic, this felt like some kind of sign. It allowed me a way to start processing a lot of the guilt, to put those feelings into action. And being surrounded by a bunch of kind strangers and locals, it was a perfect place to do so. The mountains and forests surrounding us was idyllic. I mean, you've seen the pictures. You really get a sense of community when you've stuck with the same people for nearly 24 hours a day. And you certainly miss some of the comforts of home, but the work you're doing is very liberating, knowing you're doing good in someone else's life, regardless of the baggage in your own, which is to say, I truly couldn't recommend it enough.
Awesome, Harry. Hi, I'm John Moyer. The first morning I woke up in Nicaragua with a UUCW brigade supported by Bridges to Community. Roosters were my alarm clock. I'd come with my daughter Tessa to help build a house for a family I didn't yet know. At the site, a stake marked the footprint of their future home. The local mason showed us how to mix mortar and bend rebar. My mortar mixing was clumsy. My Spanish was worse. By midday, sweat and laughter had become our shared language. The mother of the new home handed me sweet coffee and said, "Gracias por su ayuda," meaning thank you for your help. Not for our construction expertise, but rather for our caring and presence. On my second trip, I arrived with my wife and 3 kids, less as a stranger and more as a student. I knew the rhythm of the worksite, shovel scrape, bucket clink, the children's laughter chasing a soccer ball, like Maddie told us about. We worked beside neighbors who had voted on which projects their community needed the most. Bridges doesn't arrive with answers. It begins by asking questions. The family contributed sweat equity, the mason led our team, and we followed. Mutuality, not charity. Relationships, not rescue. It felt like living the UU promise, honoring our worth and dignity of every person, and practicing justice with our hands. On the last day, we visited the family's finished home with a roof and door that had been added by the local crew. The mom tapped the door and smiled and said, "Seguro," safe. Safe from earthquakes, but also safe to dream, to plan, to be with family. We joined hands in a big circle with grateful families and celebrated a shared accomplishment. Bridges to Community doesn't just build walls and routes, it builds a bridge that's wide enough for all of us, folks in Central America and Caribbean families, local leaders, and us U.S. volunteers. We're there to meet in the middle and build mutual respect. And our UUCW values walk right along that bridge. Compassion is daily practice, equity is our blueprint, and an interconnection as the rebar that holds us all together. So people kind of ask, why go and why go back a second time? It's because every time we go, the bridge gets stronger. And my heart learned humility, my hands remembered that trust that can be like mortar, and my spirit was just reshaped by what we built together. A home where the floor stays dry when the rains come, and the future is bright as a morning sun.
I have all these memories flooding back now with all these wonderful stories. All right. UUCW's Split the Plate program is one of outreach and community. Each month, we give half of all undesignated offerings to a nonprofit organization to help us live our Unitarian Universalist values, pursue the goal of social justice, and serve our community. Our partner for November is the Tribal Elder Food Boxes program. The Tribal Elder Food Box program is a prime example of innovation and community engagement that addresses hunger and food insecurity for some of the most vulnerable tribal citizens in Wisconsin. The pandemic highlighted the crisis of food insecurity within tribal communities, and since 2019, tribal nations in Wisconsin and Michigan have been working to enhance food sovereignty through the growth of the Tribal Elder Food Box Program, TEFBP. An outcome of the efforts is the development of the Great Lakes Intertribal Food Coalition, or GLIFC. To contribute to this program, which is becoming a model for others to follow, drop something in the offering basket today or go to the UUCW website's Donate tab and select Split the Plate from the menu provided. Or you can text or mail your donation using the information found here. We thank you most sincerely for your support.
And now please join me in speaking the words for dedicating our offering. They are printed in your order of service. To the work of this community, which is to ground ourselves in love and joy and to act for inclusion and justice, we dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings. And now I invite Phil Kroner to come forward and share our closing Brigadista reflection.
My task is to give you the top 10 reasons to travel to the Dominican Republic. But before I do that, I want to share a few slides, and I want to thank Eddie Daniel for shooting these pictures. I went to Nicaragua with my son James in 2010. This is just a picture of our crew at the beginning of the trip. So all the Brigadistas from UUCW, the work crew that helped us build the house, and the family that we're building the house for. And the family all participated in the building, so it was a very nice experience. In the background, you can see the type of construction they were using. I think that was their kitchen at the time, so we were going to replace that. And you can sort of see in the background on the left some of the rebar that we had built to support the corners of the building. I went with my son James. He's in the white shirt here with his best friend at the time, Riley O'Connor, who was a member of the church. And these are with the two boys that were brothers that were in the family who were building the house. And they became fast friends, and that was a really nice thing to see. Jim still talks about this trip, and it was especially meaningful for me just as a person, but I have to say one of the best things I ever did as a parent. It was really nice to share that week with him. Teenagers are really busy, and I have to say that at that time in his life, it was nice to spend an entire week with him, just with him. So that was easily one of the better decisions that I made as a parent. What I don't understand is that it was also one of my worst decisions I made that week. I still don't understand why I let him buy a machete as a souvenir. It just goes to show the truth of a refrigerator magnet I had that says, and those of you with older kids know this, the first 40 years of parenting are always the hardest. Here we are amid construction, And you can see that we're actually built, as people have said, we mix the cement and mortar on the ground, and we're laying bricks. And I have to say, the workers were especially nice at letting us feel like we had the skills to do this job. And I still don't know if we left how much time they spent correcting our mistakes. But I do know that all the houses we built are still standing, so we must have done okay. Here we are walking down the hill at the end of a day of work, and you can see on the left the nearly completed house, and the building on the right is what they were using as a home at the time. And so it was a really nice feeling to know that you were leaving them a building that was warm, safe, and dry, so something solid for them. This is one of my favorite pictures. At the bottom of the driveway, there were these rows of palm trees, and at the end of the day, they would leave these beautiful shadows in the road, and I always remember that scene. I want to show you this because this is one of the paintings in the community room. And at that time in Nicaragua, a local painter would paint the scene and gift it to the church. And so you can see at the bottom of the painting where the palm trees are that I showed previously, and that's a good depiction of the working scene at the right, the new house on the left, the old house on the right, mixing the cement. And if you look really closely, you might be able to see me in the back working on the rebar. Building the house was challenging, but not nearly as hard as the 6 hours we had to pose for this painting. So. It wasn't all work. This is the last day we had dinner at a restaurant right on the beach, and we got to spend the day at the beach, and everyone was in their swimsuits and resting and relaxing, and it was really a good time. So now I'm going to show you the top 10 reasons that I put together a few years back that I modified for why you should go to the Dominican Republic. Number 10, because you might get to go out to eat and watch lizards crawl across the walls. That was a new experience for me. Number 9, you will find out how a diet heavy in rice and beans affects your digestive system. Number 8, where else can you find an all-inclusive vacation for about $200 a day? Number 7, to learn that you really can survive without the internet for 1 week. Number 6, to discover that taking a bucket shower under a warm sun is one of your favorite things to do. Number 5, to be reminded that all the stuff we own really isn't that important. Number 4, because at unexpected moments, months later, you will think of the family you helped and wonder how they are doing. Number 3, when language is a barrier, you will discover the power of a simple smile. Number 2, you will always know you did something truly important for someone. And for me, the number 1 reason to experience the thrill of seeing your teenager be assigned a chore and do it immediately.
Thank you, Phil. And now please rise in body and/or spirit, and Jim Fisher will lead us in singing "Let Us Go Out."
Okay, everyone. This song has really special meaning to me because I brought it with me to, this song has really special meaning to me because I brought it with me on one of our brigades. And after learning it here in this sanctuary from Pam Blevins-Hinkle, who Ruben reminded me came to visit us when he was on sabbatical 10, 20 years ago. So this song I just fell in love with, and then in fact brought it to Nicaragua, sang it with our brigade, and then it occurred to me that we should learn this in Spanish, but we didn't have the Spanish word. So I talked to David Sandino, one of our group leaders, and he agreed to translate it for us into Spanish. So, no, I'm not going to make you sing it in Spanish. But if you join me on a brigade, I will teach you the Spanish version, because now I have that one in my head too. So today we're going to learn the English version, originated by Pam. And if you guys will sing along with me, that'd be awesome. So we're going to do it like this. I'm going I'm going to sing the first line, and then Ruben's going to help you repeat after me. And then we'll do that with all three of the main lines, and then we'll sing the whole thing after that. You'll get it. So the first line goes like this. Let us go out and light up the dark. Let us go out and light up the dark. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out with joy. Wow, that was fantastic. Okay, so let's do that one more time, and then Ruben will do the piano, and we'll do the whole song, all right after one line after another. All right, let us go out and light up the dark. Let us go out and light up the dark. And just listen to me, and then follow. Ready? I know, this happens in choir, too. We do this to Ruben. He tells us, and we just sing. But no, just listen to me, and then you get to repeat after me. What's the next line? Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out with joy. Wow, we got this. You got this. All right, now we're going to do the whole thing with accompaniment. Let us go out and light up the dark. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out and light up the dark. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out and light up the dark. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out and light up the dark. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out and light up the dark. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out and light up the dark. Let us go out, bring joy to each heart. Let us go out, with indifference destroyed. Let us go out with joy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Marvelous. I'm going to ask you to please be seated. And I'd first like to thank all of the Brigadistas for their time in crafting these marvelous stories and reflections and sharing their spirits and their experience that we heard this morning. Another round of applause for all the folks. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's an honor to hear your stories. And now I'd like to invite all of the folks who have traveled as Brigadistas who are present here or supported the Brigadistas program to come forward and gather around the chalice table here. Wow. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Woo! Dear Brigadistas, we honor your work and your hearts and your compassion and your generosity and your learning. And thank you for being here today and for keeping this program alive. And now, as Natalie extinguishes our chalice, I offer these closing words. Where there is greed, may we bring generosity. Where there is hatred, may we bring love. And may we be instruments of love, respect, and peace in everything we do. May it be so, and amen. Amen.